All right. All right. Good evening, everyone. How are we? So tonight I'm actually working on an artwork that I cannot reveal the whole thing yet, as it's a gift for someone, and we can't risk accidentally getting online and seeing that. However, I might be able to show you some little sneak peeks as I go. So I'll show you the corner to start with. We'll work it out. But a special shout out to Heather, who has actually commissioned this painting. So she'll be getting all the secret. She'll be getting the full updates in her own private messages down the track. So trying not to show too much. All right, so tonight what I'm working with is my oils. And I'm also working with some Liquil as well. So Liquil medium. I've also got here some of the drying walnut oil. And I can mix these mediums actually into my colours as well because it helps give it a really lovely gloss. And it helps to just preserve the painting a lot longer. So it's quite just a lovely medium. Okay, so I'm just going to start here. If anyone drops into the chat, just say hello. I'm happy to answer any questions as we go. Okie dokie. So one of the things that you may have noticed from my, whenever you see my speed paintings put up, is you always work from the back of the image to the front. So I'm going to select a square end brush at the moment, and I'm actually going to start attacking the surface that these animals are sitting on. I feel like you can see too much. Oh, I don't know if I can fix that. That's all right. All right. So you've probably seen there is some kind of dog on this painting, but we're just going to leave it at that at the moment. All right. So I'm going to start off. Some of these paints are a little bit dry, but I'm wanting to continue using those colours. So I'm actually going to just use my filthy dirty palette knife. I always keep an old one that I'm not using for painting that I can use to just stir up the paint a little bit if it's dried up. So the surface they're sitting on is a creamy coloured surface, so I'm going to get my yellow ochre. And I'm probably going to use it with titanium white. And also a little bit of raw sienna, I think. Burnt umber. I also need some burnt umber. Have I got any? Yes, I do. So I need to make sure with the mediums that I'm using, particularly the Liquil, I don't want to just put it straight on like a varnish over the top. I actually want to use it in conjunction with the paint. Incidentally, this medium helps it dry quicker as well, which is interesting. Hey, there's someone on there. Give us a wave in the chat. Hi. So straight up, I'm going to start with the darker colours to lay down the surface. I say I'm going to start with the darker colours, but here I'm using the lighter colour because I really want to get that sense of these items sitting on this cushion. So start with the darker colours and then work it into the lighter. You'll see that there's already a grey down in the background. I like to lay down some surface colour beforehand and just let it peep through because that gives a bit of interest. I'll just fix this up. Big hello to the people that's just that have just joined me. Make sure you say hi in the chat window so I know who's there and I can give you a shout out then. Just getting this working. Okay. So you would have missed it before, but I can't reveal too much of this painting at the moment because it is actually a gift. So I'm trying to show you as little as possible. But by all means, people can ask questions, and every now and then I will probably sneak a little Just trying to fix this up here. I'll probably sneak a little peek for you at some point or another. All the benefit of having live. Why is that not going away? Okay. And again, just like I pointed out in my last live video, I always like to paint around the sides as well. I think that's pretty important. It's good for people to get their painting and be able to put it straight up on the wall. But I've found out recently as well, it's also a sign of authenticity if the artist has painted all around the edges. And it just shows that extra bit of care, I suppose. There's nothing wrong with just painting it black or putting a frame on it, but if you can see that the artist has taken care to go around the edges as well, it gives it that extra quality. Nobody wants to say hi in the chat tonight. I don't even know who's on. More than happy to answer questions. Okay. Seeing as this painting is sideways, I'm going to give you a bit more of a view of it. That doesn't reveal much. Yeah, that's good. So, just working on this base at the moment. And the object I'm actually painting is a creamy coloured cushion. Typical ones that you'd find in a pet bed. Very fluffy and comfy looking. Get some titanium white. What I just did was a massive no-no. So I should always use a palette knife to clean off the paint from the end of my tube instead of just wiping it on the palette, because otherwise I'm causing a big mess. I have a sneaky suspicion that's Heather on the line. Hello, Heather. Actually, it wasn't a sneaky suspicion. I saw a Facebook message come up. Shh. Hi. So if you have a look on, I don't know if you're looking, Heather, on your phone or on a laptop or a computer, but there should be a little section where you can actually put a chat in as well onto the actual YouTube thing. Not that it matters. I'm getting your messages here. But any questions you have, just shout out. No, that's okay. It might be just computers that let people do the chat option. So anyone that's joining me on iPad or phone, welcome. I can see that there's people on, which is good. I hope everyone's had a good Easter break. So one thing that's really interesting about this gloss is it's a little bit transparent. So I've got to work in layers. But it's funny because you'll as I'm going along, I'll find the layers look really crummy and rubbish, but I'll keep persevering, and then suddenly by the fourth layer, I've got this really nice thing happening. Yeah, the gloss. Wait until you see the gloss in real life when you get the paintings. It's really nice. It's just so yummy. You just want to touch it. Yeah, it's just really nice stuff. I think I'm going to use this technique from now on, which doesn't, every other painting I've done is still just as good without the gloss, but I think this just gives it that extra oomph. So I laid down my dark colours. Now I'm gonna, my picture disappeared. I'm gonna go even darker where those shadows are after. I'm gonna come back and actually put a bit of black in there. Which I might pop out now. Good old lamp black. So I use all sorts of stuff to actually put put my oils and my mediums in and my terps in. I actually keep my terps in a green curry paste jar that's been really well cleaned out. That way it's got a lid. Nobody has to get gassed by the fumes when I'm not working on a painting. And believe it or not, my liquid is in a very old mug. And I just happen to not really need that mug anymore. And I don't know, I kind of liked the feel that you get from using an old mug to do painting stuff. I don't know why. It's a bit crazy. I suppose I'm not really too precious about mugs too much anymore because I've started making a lot of them. I think I might be nearly getting that one down pat. My next challenge will be yarn balls. So now I've put that little black line there. I'm actually going to bring the light color back into it and let them blend. So I don't do the whole one paintbrush for one color and might let it dry. I actually do a lot of blending while stuff is wet. Which is, I'll tell you what, it's so fantastic when you're doing fur because you just get a really old brush and you just feather it on. Now I need to pick up some of that dark color and bring it up here. Don't know how much of that you can see. One of the tricks I've learnt recently is to use the right size brush for what you're doing. I mean, I work in really high detail all the time, but I used to use a mega tiny brush that had about 3 hairs on it, and I'd sit there and I'd use that for the majority of the artwork. And it'd just take a lot longer. But I'm starting to try and use the right size brush in proportion to what I'm doing. some of these other colours into here now. I'm not going to worry too much at this point if some of the hues of colour are slightly different, because I'll work that through as I go. So I'll add a bit more yellow here, or yellow ochre. Now picked up some of that grey colour, I'll put it up here. Now in the photo, this is quite light. So I'm going to add my white in and just lighten the whole thing right up. Well, I'll tell you what. Heather's just said, for anyone else that's on, she's just said she can't wait, and it looks great so far. The glaze actually helps it dry faster, so this way as well, I'll be able to get them to you quicker. I've given it another run over on the background as well that wouldn't have been seen last time. This afternoon, I mean, we started off with the whole drippy effect, purpley background. Sometimes I leave it like that, and it is really effective, but I decided tonight I didn't really want that effect for this particular painting, because I felt like these two needed a bit more polished, cutesiness happening, rather than the playful. That my words are just totally coming out wrong. I just thought it suited these two a little bit better, because these two, while they're sitting amongst toys and they look really, they probably are extremely playful, they also look very posh in a way, like really well-to-do little dogs. So I really wanted to give them that real polished look. I'm probably way off, but you know what? I think they look like they're very, very looked after and spoilt, which is a great thing. We all need to spoil our fur babies. Is that definitely are as in definitely are spoilt? Nice. You can tell. I painted my sister's dog a few years ago, and it's actually, if you see in all my paintings, there's a painting of a black and white Jack Russell looking dog that's sitting on a piano. I called it Pepper Pianist. She is spoilt too. All right, so I'm pretty happy with that cushion at this point. So I need to be very carefully. The good thing about my easel is I actually have a bit of a lip there. So I can sit it on the wet paint. I just really want to get that tiny little corner. Okay, I'm going to balance. Ooh, the purple is still semi-drying. Okay, I got this. Probably going to drip it on myself, but that's okay. Oh no. Okay. We are good. Now, how wet is that purple? I might actually sit it. This is the tricky bit. I'm going to sit it on that lip just really carefully. And then the only bit that's touching the wet stuff is just a tiny little thin section. I'll show you on the end here. Oh, the light's in the road. Oh, you can't see it properly. Wait. Let me get back. There we go. So you can see there's sort of a lip there. So it sits on the edge of that. Now let me just put the power back in. Give it more juice. There we go. Okay, so I'm going to sit it like that. Move it back here so it's not as obvious. Right, so the next part I'm going to work on is our black puppy dog. Mainly because, again, we work from the back to the front and he is sitting probably the most behind everything else. So to get, is it a him or a her? I'm probably calling him the wrong gender. Wait, it'll be a her, wouldn't it? Because she's got them flowers in her hair. Okay, so this is, it's a her. Okay, cool. Thanks. Now, I want to do this so I could show a tiny bit, but I don't want to. Is she going to possibly see it? This is what I need to know. Okay, there's the little sneak peek for people that are on. I'm now going to change to quite a messy brush, or a really stiff brush actually. This is one of my fur brushes. And this is where it gets fun because you can get some really great fur stuff happening. Okay, cool. All right, well, I'm just going to do it. Thank you for the heads up, Heather. Okay, so again, back to the front. I was going to go the fur, but now I'm looking at it, I'm thinking this scarf has to happen first. So I'm going to go to the other photo. That's a really good point. Very good point. I'm going to go to the scarf first. Now, the scarf in the photo is going to be really tricky because it's in a whole different position to this dog. So I'm going to get out the colours on it. I already have white, but I need some bright red. Or I might have to change my mind, because that fur is underneath that. Tricky. Every painting is like another puzzle piece. You got to get them just right. Come on, red. Come on, it should come. Get a bit low on you. Now I've lost the lid. Would you believe it? No, there it is. Okay, so we're talking about a white scarf here with red on it. So I'm going to start with the bigger brush again. And I'm going to start with my white, but I'm going to use a bit of grey for the shadowy parts. So again, I'll start off by just layering it down. I'm not going to worry too much about getting it perfect until I get that first layer down. I'll still be careful going around the face and stuff, but those beautiful ears are going to go over the top of the scarf. Now the edge of the scarf is cut with shearing scissors. Is that what they're called? So in a moment I need to give it that shape. Okay, I'm going to have the second half of it going down here. Okay, so I've got a basic thing down. Now I'm going to give it some shadow. I want to go over the top I'm going to put a tiny bit of blue into the shadow as well, which you may not even notice it. And again, if I make it too full on, this is what happens with a lot of people, especially when they're beginner painters. They'll start going, oh, look, I'm trying to do the shadow. Ah, the shadow is too much. And then they freak out and then they give up on it. It's like, no, you know what? It's like a ballet dance. You're dancing between the dark and the light shadows. So, especially with oils are so great because you just go back over the top. Okay, so I have got shadow in there. It is full on, but that's what I wanted at this point. So now I'm coming back with the white. I'm not going to put my red on this till right at the end because it needs to be really, in fact, the red is going to be so detailed that I probably need to do it later. That's good. And that's what you're meant to see. You're meant to see it like start looking like shadow. And the folds in the cloth. We're trying to get folds in this cloth. And again, it's extremely tricky because the cloth in the reference photo is completely folded differently to how it would be if the dog was facing the front. I just missed that last one, I think. Oh, it was a thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so later on I'm going to put more white in that. But for now I'm just going to let it dry a tiny bit. And I'm going to come back here with a little brush because I want to get that edge on it. And now I'm not liking the brush I chose. And possibly, very possibly, I should be doing this part after I do that black fur. But you know what? If I stuff it up, that's okay. I just go over it. I cannot for the life of me remember what these scissors are called. All I can think of is pinking shears, or someone's got to help me here. Yeah, well, we can't talk about whose dogs these are, but for anyone that's watching, they are Queenslanders. Very pretty Queenslanders. Hopefully, well, I don't know who they go for. It might be the Broncos, but hopefully it's the Cowboys. Either way, for state of origin, they are Queenslander dogs. I would like to see this poodle wearing a maroon scarf this year. Okay. Yeah, I am actually starting to think that the little triangles I'm doing at the moment were probably too much detail at this point. I probably should have put the fur, but I'm not going to stress about that. I'm just going to continue on, and then if I have to go back and adjust it later, that's fine because I've already given myself a bit of a foundation. Very cute. Now, believe it or not, this glaze is probably nearly dry enough for me to actually put more white in it. So here we go. I'm going a smaller brush again because I want to start trying to make that shadow just a tiny bit little smaller. We'll just give it a bit more definition where I want it. So we've had lots of visitors lately, and suddenly tonight it's an empty, quiet house. The visitors have gone for a visit up to Cairns for a few days. So they're going to go and see if they can go to the reef tomorrow. And my stepdaughter's gone out to the movies. And Peter is out west on the trains. So we're having a quiet one. It's always quieter after you've had lots of people. Oh, I hope that's rain I can hear. It is. We have rain. Yes. Okay, so let me get some tiny shadow in here. And now the dog is going to come in because she's scared of the rain. Pepper, really? Oh, it's not even thunder in that dog. Pepper, Pepper. Pepper, what are you doing? Come here. Come here. Come and say hello to everyone. Pepper has just been shaved. She's had a haircut the other day. Say hi, Pepper. Hey, I'm scared of rain and thunder, and there's no thunder, so I'm going to pretend I'm a big sook. Look at ya. Yes, you are a sook. You can sleep under the easel for a while. Just not there because I don't want to drip on you. Of course you'll go under my feet. Yeah, I forgot what colour I was using. Grey. You're not allowed in the house, Pepper. I will send the rain there when I'm finished. We need a little bit more rain though. We broke our drought. We had a 7-year drought and we broke it in the 3 days of rain that we had recently. Okay, so I've definitely got more of that shadowing happening now. I'm going to give it a few minutes before I apply the red, and I actually think I could apply the red quite easily in a few minutes anyway. But let's do some fur. So I'm going to go back to her face, blow it right up. You might have noticed from other videos, I do the nose and the eyes last. Thank you. I always do the eyes and the nose sort of semi-last because I just want to those have to be done just right. I'm pretty particular about them. If I don't get the nose and the ears right, sorry, the nose and the eyes right, the rest of it just doesn't look right. And fur is all about colours and layering the colours. Now there's actually white on this little dog's top lip, but I'm going to do the black first, and then later on with my mega fine brush, then I'll actually layer the white hairs on individually. But I'm not going to do that quite yet. So I'm just going to get this colour down. Now there's brown in this as well. Colour theory. It's all about trying to see what colours are within the colours. And most of us would go black dog. But in the shadows, you can see green, you can see brown. There's all sorts of colours in the shadows. So see already with my my really stiff brush, I can try and get some of that real tiny hair work into the fur. And I can go even finer later on, but at the moment I'm just trying to get just that basic edge happening. And you can hear how rough it is because of the scratchiness. Yeah, I need just the right colour, so I'm going to use white with some of this chocolatey brown to sort of give me a greyish browny colour for the side of the face. And then blend it as I go into the black. Tiny bit more brown. And I can keep adding more layers of that later on as well as I go. It's on the other side as well. Ooh, got to watch that left hand. It doesn't go in the white paint. Go back to the straight black now just to get the edge of this. Before I go back to the face, I need that really obvious dark shadow under the ears. I'm not quite going to let that fuzziness go onto the scarf either because the ears aren't really fuzzy. The ears are more, they actually are done with a really fine brush. Same thing over here. Need that really good sharp edge. And this issue with my left hand about to go into the wet paint, this is why I turn the painting upside down at different points. But whenever I turn it upside down, I always turn the photo upside down as well. Otherwise, it's really easy to mess it up. Just going to put a couple of those black lines into the ears a bit haphazardly because they're going to show up later. Peppa, where are you going? Wait, stay here. Don't you go wandering into the house. Rest of the house. So now what I'm trying to do is I'm just finding all the darkest parts of the photo. Actually, I'll tell you a little secret. I actually lightened the photo. I've actually got two versions of this photo, and I lightened one of them just so I could see where all the shadows are. Okay, now that's nice and wet. I can start coming along with all sorts of colours. Well, the colours that are in the photo anyway. Now I'm going to do it really hairy, but because it's basically a poodle, there's really wavy fur as well. So I will bring in the wavy sort of permy colour, permy wavy bits. Again, later on, I'll bring those highlights in with the other brush. Oils is all about layers. Oh, thank you. That's good to know. That is very good to know. I actually think when I put that post up there, I didn't think she would be, but then I didn't think to ask, so I apologise about that. Yeah, it's all about layers when you're doing oils. There's a real chocolate colour in here. So I am being really careful at the moment to try and get the right colours, but it's not so much about detail right now as it is about the tone. So if I squinted at the photo, I have to know where all the darkest tones are and the lightest tones so I can get them all in. But I can still use my scratchy brush because I can get the hair happening as well at the same time. Now I've gone overboard with the brown there, so now I'm going to pull it back. It's quite a light grey around the eyes. It's important to leave that light grey too because we need the eyes to stand out later. Is this one lady that I'm painting now, is it? Poor thing. Hopefully she gets better pretty quickly. It's horrible when all these things linger. definitely a good name for her. Well, we've nearly been gone for an hour. It's gotten really fast. Those eyes are completely different shapes to each other at the moment, but that will fix itself up later on when I do all the details. I don't know, Pepper. I think you're going to have to go out soon. Pepper, lay down. Lay down, Pep. Uh-oh. No, don't let the kids give it away. That's when you go, no, it's a totally different dog. How would she know how to paint that dog? Some kids are very switched on. So it looks like we've got someone else online. Give us a shout out in the chat if you can. I tell you what, there's a thing on my computer saying top chat and live chat, and I can't actually, it's covering people's names, so I can't even see who's saying hi. So I'm using my trusty, for those who just joined us, I'm using my trusty little stiff brush at the moment to do some nice fur. We can hear beautiful rain outside. It's just what we've needed. So it's all about doing the layering. I've got to really get, it doesn't look like much at the moment, but it'll start really coming together once I get the different layers in. I actually hate it when it's at this stage. I feel like it just doesn't, I love it right towards the end when it starts really coming together in those top layers that are full of detail. When it's at this stage, I always think, I just want to get it to the stage it starts looking good. But, you know, the different stages are all important. Each layer is important. Although I'm becoming happier with this now. I feel like it's starting to come together a bit. And later on, I'll come back with a really fine brush and I'll bring all these beautiful highlights into the fur. Loving this rain. This is just my second layer. My second layer of painting is happening. It doesn't really come together until the third layer, but this is still okay. The Cowboys lost. Oh, the games were on tonight. I forgot to watch the footy. Whoops. Oh, no, the Cowboys lost. Oh, fancy that. Someone coming online just to give me bad news. I'm getting pretty happy with the way this layer is shaping up. I think she's starting to come out quite nicely. But it'll be even better when I get the next lot of layers in. Which bit? The Cowboys. I completely forgot that the footy was on tonight. I'm all disappointed now. Well, you're lucky I came on here to do a live feed because if I'd remembered that the Cowboys were playing, I probably wouldn't have come on tonight. I probably would have painted with the telly on instead. Pepper, see the way you're sniffing around to find a spot to pee? Whoa, whoa, whoa. Come here. Pepper, come here. Outside. Banishment. Good. No accidents. Incidentally, I've just rigged the cat flap so she can't get back in too. I'm such a cruel person. I'll tell you what, this is going to be chunky glossy. Do you still like the chunkiness on Keats' log, on your painting of Keats? Oh, cool. Right, puppy. Lady Blue. Move onto your body. I'm thinking at this point it didn't hurt to put those things in. Oh, that's awesome. You'll have to find a special bit of wall space for your Jess painting now. Ah, another Peter. Good name. I just realised my Peter, who is an avid Cowboys fan, has missed the game as well because he's dropping a train at the moment. So I'll just have to make sure I don't tell him the bad news. Now, the curls on this dog's body are way more obvious than on the head. Yeah, he might know, but I don't know how much reception. Literally, their reception is there for 2 seconds and then gone. They drive the trains out west to go pick up all the stuff from the mines, like zinc and copper, and there's a lot of little townships with no reception out that way. But who knows? If they made it to Mount Isa in time, they might have gotten to watch it. Lots of little curly whirlies on this one. So this one is definitely, I'm going to come back to this one with a tiny, tiny brush because I think this fur calls for it. But I need this dark stuff down first. At this point, I think I'm going to move to my big hairy brush. The plan is tonight, I think I'll get most of this black down and this, try and get Lady's fur all down. Get it to the point that I'm fairly happy with it. I won't do the second layer on it tonight. I'll probably just get her fur down. And then if I'm feeling like I want to keep going, then I might move on to the other dog. What's the other dog's name? I'm not going to worry about the fur on this other dog because Lady is underneath or behind her, so I'll get that detail out later. Wow, this dog! So many fluffy bits. Commonwealth Games as well. Oh goodness, I haven't been watching a lot of TV at all. We have been fishing though. I've pretty well let our visitors that we've had choose what to have on the telly. So we watched all the cricket. which Peter would have had on anyway if he was home. Haven't really watched any Commonwealth Games. Yep. Our boat, Peter's had it since before he's known me, and he's been building it. He's been rebuilding it for years. He stripped it down to nothing, and he's been rebuilding it. And blood, sweat, and tears and money have gone into that thing. And there was a few times we thought we'd never see it on the water. But we finally got it launched, and I put the little video on YouTube the other day, and Thursday night, I think we did our first little night fish in our boat that we've had forever. So it's really good to finally get it in the water. Didn't catch anything, but we caught some squid, and when Iris disappears completely, hopefully we'll get out to the reef. That's the plan. I love the reef. Thank you. Yeah, no, it looks fantastic. He's done such a good job on it. We're all still trying to decide what name. He's had a few different names, and they keep changing. So, it's gone from the original name was the Office, and then it became the Tinny. I'm just gonna call it the Tinny. Yeah, it just keeps changing lest we forget. So we're going to make it like an Anzac theme. But yeah, we just don't know what it's going to be now. But I'll let Peter decide that one. Seeing as it's his baby. Well, that's good news. That's for the Commonwealth Games. Australia is on top. That is excellent news. Alrighty, so I'm nearly finished this first layer. I think I might stop my live feed in a moment. Give myself a break, have a cuppa. One thing about these, the gloss is amazing, but it's really smelly. So it's a no bird zone. I've got gloss out, but also I start feeling gassed. So I'll do a little tiny bit more, and then I might stop for a break. You know what? I think I'll get that other foot later. And this foot, I can see toe pads, so I'm going to get that detail later. The tail, however, I can definitely get some tail in. But I'm going to get that smaller brush again for the tail because I want to start getting some bits of fuzz going out. The tail's always fun on these kind of dogs because you got all these little crazy hairy bits that just go nuts. Let me move this back so I can get really serious about this tail. And because the light is making it hard for me to see. Not at all. You haven't annoyed me at all by using Messenger. I'll tell you what, it worked quite well actually because I'm holding the camera. Can't even say it. I'm holding my phone in my hand with the reference picture, and I'm seeing your little messages right in front of my face as they spring up. Whereas when people chat on the computer, I need to keep turning around and look at it like this, and I don't see it half the time. So it worked out well. Wasn't annoying at all. It was really good, actually, because you're the only person that joined me properly for the whole thing. This live feed thing is a fairly new thing for me. I've probably done about 5 of them maybe in the last few years. I haven't really done that many. I do them occasionally, and sometimes I'll get people on that hang around. Sometimes I'll get people that'll buzz in and out. I've tried. You can probably only see the back of my head, can't you? Yeah. Sorry. I've tried the live feed on Facebook and also on Instagram as well, but I think it's nice to be able to keep it. And on YouTube, you can keep it. Look at that fuzzy wuzzy tail. So cute. Crazy fuzzy tail. I'm having way too much fun with this now. Ah, yeah. I'll definitely come back here with a bit of. I'll come back here later. Fill that in later. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. That's the third layer. I'll add more layers to her later on. I'm definitely thinking I need a little break from the gassing. When I come back to do her next layer, I'll probably do her scarf properly, and then I'll do her flowers in her ears properly. It's actually really funny because this part, it's like it hasn't really come together quite yet, but it comes together really deceptively fast. So I'll come back all ready to do tiny, tiny little details with a tiny brush, and I'll find it actually happens quite fast. And yeah, it's really, I don't know, I find it very satisfying getting to that last layer and just watching it all come together. And, you know, like you've seen with, I think you put on your, Heather, you put your profile picture as one of the painting versions of Jess, except I think you used an unfinished version. So it just goes to show in those last layers, you can see it come back. You can see it come together so much that you barely even recognise that it's that it's finished, or not finished. But yeah, it's good. Okay, well, thank you for joining me anyway, and thank you to anyone else who popped in and said hi, and thank you, random person who let me know that the Cowboys lost. I still can't even see who said that, but that's okay. It's all good. Have a really great night, and I will see you next time. Yes.